5 years, approximately, after the Silver Cup in Detroit, Bill's great debut in unlimited hydroplane racing, Bill was married at the time, had a child. He was going to work every day at his father's Chevrolet dealership, packing a lunch and really hating it. Racing also, in limited racing. And one day he got a call from Ted Jones. And Ted Jones said, "You know, Bill, I don't know if you remember me, but I was so impressed at your driving ability in the Silver Cup that I would like you to come out and test the Thriftway boat, the Miss Thriftway." And oh my goodness, Bill couldn't believe it. And he knew that his father would never allow that. And so he didn't tell his father. He just said, "Well, I'm going to go out and just check out some racing on the West Coast," and because he hadn't been hired.
Actually, he used to kid about that himself all the time. He said, I'm really not even supposed to be here." I said, what are you talking about? You're not supposed to be here. He said, "Well, I was under contract to Horace Dodge to drive for him." And he said, "I was approached by Associated to come out and do some testing on their new race boat." So he said, "I went to Horace," and he said, "I asked him if it would be possible for him to allow me to go out there to run this new 3-point boat that the Thriftway organization was putting together." He always said, "Well, Horace," he kind of hemmed and hawed and said, "Well, yeah, I guess it's okay. I'll let you go out there, but you understand you're just on loan to these people now. You're my driver, but you're on loan to these people." So Bill says, "I came west. I never went back again except to go racing." So.
So anyway, he went back and he didn't know what he was going to do. How was he going to leave his father and leave the dealership, something that his father had been counting on for his whole life? So he called Harry LeDuc, who was a sports writer for the Detroit newspaper. And he told Harry LeDuc about his dilemma and what could he do, and asked him if he could help him with his father. And so Harry LeDuc called Ed Muncey and said, "Ed, Bill has a chance of a lifetime to drive an unlimited hydroplane. He's their choice for a driver for this brand new team, and it's a great company, and you ought to let him try it. You ought to give him just, even a year just to try it." And so Harry LeDuc talked Ed Muncey into it. And so Bill and his wife were on their way to Seattle.
It was huge for him, and it must have been, to a certain extent, pretty scary, because he had been raised and groomed and educated at great expense, actually, to take over for Grandpa Muncey at Muncey Chevrolet. And I mean, that was a very lucrative situation. Dad had years of college and business education. He majored in business administration and marketing. That's what his job was. And Raymond, of course, would fit into the program as he got out of college. And for Dad to depart like that and basically tell Grandpa, you're offering me, security, very well-to-do, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go far, far, far away from my kids' grandchildren, 3,000 miles away, into back then people would think that Seattle, we had igloos on every street corner and we were snowbound all the time, and when it wasn't snowing, it was raining, and I'm going to go off to this godforsaken place and drive these crazy race boats, and somehow that's going to be a decent living for me and my wife and my kids. That took a lot of courage to do that, and not only courage just to do it because of the risk to life and limb, but courage in that he was demonstrating a certain level of independence and faith in himself and his family to stick his neck out and do that.
10 seconds. It's going to be another close one, but there will be no doubt that they'll all get... Here comes the Thriftway from out of the back. As she timed it up perfectly, let's see if she jumps the gun. Here comes Gale 5. That's Thriftway and Gale 5 pushed across the line. Almost 4 way back. There's a boat up by the Mount Baker pit in the water, and here's the south turn camera that gives you Gale 5 batting into that south turn. Man, look at that leash on the pride, that race. Slow motion 4 got off on the inside lane, but got off very poorly. She was 4th or 5th across the line to start. And here's the race in the south third. Breakfast, the boat in the water out here by the Mount Baker pit. We'll try to give you more information. It looks like she's sinking. All right, here's the race up the back stretch. Gale 5 was first into that corner, and he's facing quite a duel with Thriftway, who timed her start beautifully, too. Here's your first place race, and there's quite a race out on there with the next three boats. Here's your first place boat. Miss Thriftway is first into the north turn. Gale 5 is second, and Such Press 3 is third, and Slow Motion 4 is fourth. And Miss Cadillac is running fifth. Or is that Gale? That's another Gale boat, it is. And Breathless is last. Here's the north turn race. We're out of the north turn now, getting ready to complete the first lap of the second heat of the Gold Cup. Gale 5 trying to get down there. Miss Thriftway making her bid with Bill Muncey at the wheel, completing his first lap. Miss Thriftway coming down across the line first in the first lap in the second heat. Here's the second place boat, Gale 5. Such Press 3 is coming into the north turn, second place. Gale 5 is third. We'll have to wait for the official times, ladies and gentlemen, before we can find out about these bonus points. Here comes Miss Thriftway. Miss Thriftway, the winner of the third heat. And Gale 5 is coming up into the north turn. Walt Katie is just coming out of the second turn as Bill Muncey in Miss Thriftway wins the third heat of the Gold Cup.
Those watching at home and elsewhere to Channel 5 KING TV had seen a double victory celebration and knew the true winner of the 1955 Gold Cup. However, most of the 500,000 spectators that lined the shores of Lake Washington started for home thinking that Miss Thriftway was the winner of the Gold Cup because she had finished first in 2 of the 3 heats and third in the other one. However, total elapsed time is the thing that decides the winner in this race of the Gold Cup. And after checking the figures, the official scores indicated that Gale 5 of Detroit, driven by Lee Shoneth, had finished in a total elapsed time of 54 minutes, 16 and 20 seconds, to Miss Thriftway's time of 54.20.73, a difference of around 4 seconds, and that told the story. And that is the story of the 48th running of the 1955 Gold Cup.
The halcyon days of the sport may have been triggered by this 1955 fiasco we had with these silly rules. You got all these heats and heats and heats, but then you add up the heats into a sum, and whoever ran the fastest overall time for the distance was the winner. And that's when Lee Shoneth beat Muncey and won the Gold Cup because he was a few seconds faster overall. Though when Bill brought in the Thriftway after the 55 race, he and everybody else thought he had won it.
Lee and Bill were very, very close. They'd both been together as young men, raced together as young men, went into the service together, and they sent Bill to England or to Europe to toot his saxophone and provide music and entertainment for the troops over there, and they sent Lee to Korea. Anyway, they always kidded one another. They say, yeah, you get to go and play music, I go and get my shot off, you know. Those guys loved what they did. That was their life. All the time that Lee was racing, Joe was running the business, so Lee was basically dealing with the race boats. And Bill was dealing with a race boat for Associated or for somebody, and so they all thought the same, did the same kind of things, communicated the same way. And
When he first got here, he was, quote, public relations for Thriftway stores, or in the bigger term, Associated Grocers. And he would do public speaking and promote Associated Grocers and their affiliates, Thriftway and there was others. Dad was a real strong proponent of personal touch, being directly involved with your customers or your clients or whatever. He was a very strong proponent of that involvement. And he would be the bag boy. If you went to our grocery store, the Thriftway store, and you might be paying the money to the gal behind the counter, but Bill Muncey would be bagging up your groceries and pushing the cart out to your car and loading up your cart. And he took a kick out of doing that. That was an important thing. But at some point, and I'm kind of fuzzy, I want to say it was 3 or 4 years, that he actually stepped up and bought his own store. It was on the south end of Mercer Island. And then he bought another store on the north end of Mercer Island. And got back to the personal touch I was talking about. And he would work that on a day-to-day basis when he wasn't off racing boats.
Thriftway is in the middle, and Shanty is on the outside corner. Here they come. It is Thriftway coming down. There's the gun. It's the start. Thriftway, Shanty, and Wahoo in that order. And here comes Gale 5 and Tempest, and then Such Plus 3. And that's the start. And here we go toward the south turn in the first heat. Here's your south turn, and the camera's pouring it to you. So Thriftway, with Bill Muncey driving, gets an excellent start. And Wahoo is on the inside corner, driven by Myra Slovak. Here we are approaching the south turn now, as these boats uncork and go wild into that south turn. This is the big, tremendous moment. Shanty 1, driven by Colonel Rush Slay, an Army Air Force pilot who really knows no fear when it comes to speed, wheeling into that turn first. He's followed by Thriftway on the inside corner. Shanty is in the lead, followed by Miss Thriftway, followed by Wahoo in third place, followed by Gale 5, and Gale 5 is moving up tremendously on Wahoo in third place. Miss Thriftway dead in the north turn. And once again, Bill fails to get her started. However, he can still get her started and get a fourth place, as Tempest hasn't completed yet. She's halfway up, and she's coming around the turn now, and Muncey sits there helplessly trying to get that boat started as Tempest is ready to come around and take fourth place. Here comes Tempest getting the checkered flag in her 8th and final lap, and here comes Muncey. He gets her started again. So he will get 5th place. And the Tempest completing her lappage. And here comes Bill. White stopped with engine trouble. Miss Thriftway is coming out very wide. She'll be over here very close to the official barge. Hawaii Kai's on the inside of her, and Myra Slovak is on that inside lane. And here they come, and boy, it's a boat race. Watch them, 5 seconds. There won't be a false start. Here comes Miss Thriftway. There's Miss Wahoo on the inside corner. Here comes Miss Thriftway. There's Miss Thriftway. She's across the line first. Second is Miss US2, and here comes Tempest. Tempest on the outside, and Wahoo is slowed down completely. And Hawaii Kai the third is almost dead in the water, as there's a terrific race on for that south corner. And Tempest is definitely in there, getting a beautiful start under Bill Tonkin driving. And Lou Fagel is sitting here, and his foot is just tapping, and he's actually driving one of those boats that they drive for that south turn. So let's see who jams in there and who comes out first. Here's your head-on view of that boat driving in there. Who's it going to be? There's Miss US2. And the last place boat that finishes must finish. Ooh, Muncey driving through that north turn. Watch the way he wheels that boat in there, tight to that thing. Boy, he isn't easing up on her a bit. Bill Muncey driving hard for third place. And on the outside corner comes Hawaii Kai with Jack Regis at the wheel. Here comes the third place finisher in the third heat. The checkered flag goes up for Bill Muncey. And he's in third place. Thriftway on the outside. They're coming down. They're very close. There's the gun. Here's the start. Gale 6. Miss Pepsi getting off in first place. Now here's the race. As they race down on a 100-inch lens, you see them coming head-on toward you, and they're approaching the west turn of the course. This west turn is 6 buoys across. Now let's see who comes out on the other side going up the back stretch. Pepsi is second, and moving into third place, and moving very rapidly indeed, is, looks like Thriftway. All right, here we are, moving out of the west turn. And up the back stretch, here's a beautiful race for first and second, and that third boat is in there real close, too. It's neck and neck up that back stretch. Pepsi and Maverick, and it looks like Pepsi is giving ground as Maverick moves out in front halfway through the back stretch. And there's a boat coming up in the spray on the outside. It is Thriftway taking out after Maverick. Thriftway is in second place, and Pepsi is in third place. And the rest of the field is strung out. This is the first lap as Bill Muncey goes out after Maverick on the outside of the east turn. It is Bill Muncey coming around out of the east turn now on the outside. Bill Muncey. My cans, get my cans on. Here's the turn out of the east turn. Here's the race. Maverick on the inside. Thriftway on the outside. And Bill Muncey is coming down across the line just a half foot boat ahead of him. Pepsi is third. Maverick is second. And Pepsi begins to take over second place in the run down toward the west turn. Here's your west turn and the battle going into that area as we have the rest of the field coming across it here. Coming out of the west turn, here's a close-up view of Miss Thriftway. Bill Muncey driving. He's a boy from Detroit. Drives for Pacific Northwest. Thriftway is a boat that comes out of the Pacific Northwest owned by a string of Associated Grocer Group. Here's your first place boat coming up the back stretch now. Bill Muncey being chased by Pepsi. And Maverick has fallen back to third place. And the rest of the field is strung out on the west turn. 6 boats in all. Here's your race for first and second. Muncey out in front. He finished in second place in the first heat. And Pepsi is moving in second place. And Maverick is backed off to third. And the rest of the field is strung out and will catch up for you. The last lap coming up for Bill Muncey in Miss Thriftway. Down across the line, 500 feet. Here's your second place boat, Miss Pepsi. And Miss Pepsi would like to lap Maverick because she'd like to get out of her wake. Muncey running to the west turn for the 10th and final time on Heat 2A. Here's your first and second situation. Here comes Muncey across the line, the winner. Bill Muncey of Miss Thriftway, the winner. And his time in the 10th and final lap will come in probably well over 100 miles an hour. Not too much, though. He was pretty easy at it. Second place boat.
Bill Muncey is approaching the dock now. He's a young man, 28 years old, married with 2 children. And he's in the boat now, and they're looking at the bow. She's badly shattered, but it's only on the top. Obviously, it didn't interfere with the sterling performance of Miss Thriftway, which you just saw here out on the Detroit River. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the young man who, with tremendous courage, you just saw drive Miss Thriftway around this course for 30 miles with a shattered hull. Now, when did it happen, Bill?
I don't have the slightest idea, Tommy. I caught just a corner of it out beside the engine there, and it didn't look like much to me. I didn't even realize it was bad it was until I got out of the boat here.
Well, you didn't realize that it was that badly shattered?
Oh, no. I wouldn't have cared. I'd gone anyhow.
I know you would, Bill. Listen, you realize that you made the 30 miles in about 18 minutes?
That's good.
That's terrific.
Maybe that'll put us in the final heat this time, huh?
Let's hope so. Maybe this time.
No more bonus points.
No more bonus points. Well, you might get some, though, Bill.
Good.
You realize that?
Well, it's about time we got some. Everybody else gets them but us.
Okay, I know you want to find Kit. Now, she was up here, Bill, and she said she was very tired after that 30 miles, so you'll go find her.
Yeah, she was tired. Thanks, Tommy.
You betcha. Bill Muncey, a wonderful guy. And now, just for the moment, just one... Okay, we have to go back now to Bill O'Mara on the barge.
Here's your first place boat, first and second, coming around, and Thriftway has picked up, lost a little ground to Pepsi, and Pepsi still has that black smoke pouring out of the port across. Thriftway has completed another lap on her 6th lap. Here comes Miss Pepsi. Pepsi is now about 8 seconds behind. Your first place boat going into the western. Oh, we almost lost her. Bill Muncey cutting in real close. As we're in the 8th lap of the final heat of the Gold Cup. Your lead boat going into the west turn. Halfway up the backstretch, 3/4 of the way up the backstretch comes Bill Muncey in the Thriftway. He will not be denied. Unless his engine fails him, he will not be denied. He's driving that boat as recklessly as anybody we've ever seen. The boat is flying out of the water literally dozens of times. This Pepsi is now crawling into that corner, but he has no one out there to run a block for him. So he'll have to do it on his own. Muncey swings wide on the corner, coming out of the east turn. 103 miles an hour at the halfway point of his 10th and final lap. He's really burning. He wants those big points. This boy will never lay off that throttle, believe me. He eased up before on the final lap, and he lost 46 seconds to Lee Shaniff, and brother, he'll never do it again. As Chuck Thompson is now finally died out of a challenge back in the rut on this 10th and final lap, as Bill Muncey and Thriftway has turned this motor into a burning hot object of affection for everybody in the Pacific Northwest. All right, out of that turn comes Maverick, running in last place. And here comes Muncey on the turn for the 10th and final time, ready to get the checkered flag. Here's the spin and the run. And here comes Muncey in Thriftway. Down the line. He's a 1/4 of a mile away from the finish. He is 1,000 feet away, 500 feet away, 200, over the line goes Bill Muncey. And up goes the hand. And Bill Muncey, brother, is he a happy kid? All right, here we are on the official bar. Just briefly, let me give it to you. Total elapsed time for Thriftway, 59 minutes, 10 and 5800 seconds. Total points as we see it with that low 30-mile average, plus the 400 bonus points that you'll get for the lowest 90-mile average, 569 plus 400 plus 400 more, 1,469 points as far as we're concerned. I believe, according to our figures, unofficial anyway, Bill Muncey gets it. Money, marbles, and chalk. Tom Dargan, what do you say, buddy? Bill Muncey. That kid is so happy that it's beyond my capacity to describe. Both arms in the air, he's standing up in the boat, and his face is split from ear to ear.
In 1956, Bill went back to Detroit with the Thriftway, and he was bound and determined to avenge his loss in 1955. So the guys got back there in 56, and they ran the race, and clearly the Thriftway won on the race course, and everybody thought that Bill had won the race, until it came time to announce who won. And the referees conferred, and they all decided that, well, Bill had hit a buoy, and that he had to be disqualified, and that gave the victory to Chuck Thompson and the Pepsi. Luckily, King TV had filmed the race and had every single lap of the final heat, and they quickly, I believe it was buoy 7 on lap number 8 was what he had been accused of hitting. So King TV quickly went through the kinescope and found Bill passing buoy 7 on lap number 8, and sent that down to the judges, and they looked at it, and you can see quite clearly that Bill passes buoy 7 on lap number 8, and they ended up awarding him the trophy.
Bill said that when he came to Seattle, it was all brand new, the sport. It was just so important here, and all of a sudden he was a superstar and getting all this attention, and he had his own radio show. Willard Rhodes had him speak at all the service clubs, high schools, colleges, just every place. Anyone that would listen, Bill Muncey would talk about Thriftway stores and boat racing. He said it was just wonderful years. He loved his crew. Jack Ramsey was his crew chief, and they were very, very close.
And here's the boat that the golden boy of unlimited hydroplane racing, Bill Muncey, will be traveling in. He also had an opportunity of driving the Thriftway 2. And there was a time when they thought that he would qualify both boats in each of their heats, and then when the time came that they were both in the same heat or were drawn in the first heat, then Ray Crawford would probably drive Thriftway 2. But it didn't turn out that way because a broken prop on a 20-inch wheel, the only one that would make Thriftway 2 go, just made it absolutely unsafe to take the boat out there. They could have lost their bottom, and all sorts of things could have happened.
Bill, suppose you give us a rundown on what an unlimited hydroplane is. You've driven all kinds of hydroplanes.
Well, basically, an unlimited hydroplane is an awful lot of power moving over the water very rapidly. It's difficult to explain what the feeling is or how it feels to drive one.
It just so happens that our boat, the Miss Thriftway, is what is recognized as a 3-point hydroplane in that it rides on 3 points. It rides on one sponson on the right and one on the left, just 3 or 4 square inches of weathered surface, and the propeller, which is three points. It's powered by an Allison engine. It's got a step-up gearbox, 2 3/4 to 1 gear ratio, which some engineers will be interested in. And it runs approximately 175, 180 mile an hour.
How fast have you made Thriftway go, Bill?
That's about all, Tom, about 180. We've never been set up for a mile run. You have to change gear ratios and things, but we expect to go for the mile sometime in June, maybe.
Bill, suppose you explain for us why it is that Miss Thriftway, or an unlimited hydroplane, rides on only 3 points.
Well, they have what it would appear to be a tunnel going down the center underneath the boat. And as a result, it's an air trap, and it picks the boat up out of the water and makes it, well, literally fly. The air naturally being forced as a result of the speed through underneath the boat, picks the boat up and makes it fly like a wing. And of course it rides on the sponsons on each side to give it stability. And of course the other point, as I mentioned, is the propeller, which pushes the boat forward.
Bill, and maybe somebody has given me a tip that there are some changes in the engine on Miss Thriftway.
We've been growing 3 years, and Tom, all you do in this sport is grow, and we've got a lot of growing to do yet. But things are improving inside, and she's a great piece of competitive equipment.
Thriftway coming down across the finish line of her 4th lap in first place.
I'm a racing man, and I know I know what's expected of me, and I don't pay too much attention to the speed. In fact, in Miss Thriftway, I don't even carry a water speed or airspeed indicator. I don't even know what I'm running. We don't really care. We're interested in how fast the engine's turning.
Another point I ought to bring up, if you haven't seen Bill go before, he does a fantastic job of timing his starts. When that 1-minute gun goes, there's some kind of a clock that works in Bill's head, and boom, he's at the finish line at exactly 60 seconds. Now, have you ever taken a watch in there with you, Bill?
No, I don't use watches. There's a lot of ways of making starts, Tommy, and a lot of the drivers have their own ways of doing it. I have my own way. I don't know that it's right, but we've been getting pretty fair starts in the past year or so.
Yes, I'd say so. Everybody times off you, it seems. Bill and Kit Muncey are people who have adopted the Northwest, originally from Detroit, and then came out here for the racing, and now making their home in Seattle. Kit, tell us how you like Seattle.
Oh, I love it.
Good.
Just love it. That's why we came here, you know, Tommy.
You're going to be building a home, aren't you?
Yes, we are. We're building a house on Mercer Island, and it's in the planning stage now. We should start the digging, I hope, pretty soon.
Did Bill design it, or you, or what?
I don't know. It was sort of...
We designed it together.
It happened.
I understand the kids really enjoy the Northwest, too.
Yeah, they like it. And out here, you have such nice weather and such beautiful... Where can you go? Gee, the highest place in Michigan was our driveway, about 10 feet high. And you've got these beautiful mountains and everything, and we're real pleased with it. We're going to live here and die here.
Well, we're real pleased to have you here, too. Well, that just means a long thing. What do you feel, Kit? How do you like it when Bill is out in Thriftway 2? You like to see him drive that? Or I guess we can now say, in proper deference, we can call Miss Thriftway the old lady.
Yeah.
Which boat would you rather see Bill stick with?
The one he wants.
Have you got a choice, Bill?
No, I really haven't had a chance to make up my mind yet. Mr. Rhodes has asked me, and I can't answer yet. I'm not in a position to answer it now. This new boat is going to be so revolutionary that naturally, if it's a lot faster than Miss Thriftway, I'm interested in driving it. But right at the moment, we have a lot of work to do on it. It's a brand new concept, and I honestly believe that in time, it will revolutionize the sport from the standpoint of speeds. We'll be going 30, 40 mile an hour faster.
Talking about Section A of Heat 1 now for just a minute, I asked Bill Stead over here, now that he and Rush Schley and Maverick will be pitted against Miss Bardall, what kind of a plan of attack they'd have to run. He said, oh, just the old plan of attack, just pit Muncey against Regas and Regas against Muncey, and we'll wait it out. With that kind of a lead on, what do you think you're going to do when you first go out?
Well, you never know until you get to the starting line, actually. I know that our past experiences has proved that we're not hot in the first heat. I want to make sure I'm running in the last heat, and we'll just see how hot these boys are. I know they qualified awful quick, and I want to just see how hot they are running.
all sports, all competitive events have their own kind of people. And the guys who race unlimited hydroplanes, especially in that generation, I thought were one of a kind. Once you got into your jets and your turbos and the big money that Budweiser brought and all this stuff, and it changed the sport. But when, back in the 50s, when the slow motions were running and when Lou Fagel took the upside down ride on Lake Washington in qualifying, and the traffic across the country to Detroit, and the traffic to Coeur d'Alene, to that race over there, and Lake Chelan. There was some pretty good stuff that took place on Lake Chelan over the years. But it was a flavor that belonged to us. I know that Detroit been racing boats forever and a day up and down the Detroit River, but it's not the same. It's different out here.
In the late 50s, hydroplane racing was the sport in Seattle, and everybody in town either knew about it or wanted to compete or was building a boat. The city had dedicated a brand new park, Stan Sayers Pits, which was at that point the first pit area in the country that was built specifically for hydroplane racing. And it was a beautiful facility built on a little peninsula down on Lake Washington, and it had finger piers that were perfect for hydroplanes. It had a monorail that you could launch a hydroplane without a crane. It had a scoring and a judging office, and it was a state-of-the-art facility. In Thriftway's early career, in 55 and 56, and through most of 57, they ran the good old dependable Allison engine. But for the 57 Gold Cup, they stepped up and they switched to the Merlin. And that was a gamble, but it's a gamble that paid off because they were flawless that day.
Muncey now moves toward the three-quarter mark of the backstretch and starts to move into the rough going as he moves into the deceleration point of the north corner and goes past that and will start to decelerate on the first of 5 buoys across on the north side. Past buoy number 2 in the north corner and his first of 3 times around the course. Muncey moves to the top of the turn. Now moving to the 4th buoy. Now moving to the 5th buoy. Watch how tight he stays to that buoy now. He really stays in right on top of the buoy. Right in tight. There he goes, right by it, see? That's a good turning job, and it saves a lot of time for him. He doesn't have to put as much wear and tear on the engine as he comes down the straightaway at the 1,000-foot mark. He's 500 feet away. Over the line, end of lap 1 for Miss Thriftway, the defending Gold Cup champion, starting on lap number 2. His time, 108 miles an hour. Made it look real easy. 1 minute and 40 seconds to go around, and his time through the corners was probably somewhere around 12 to 14 seconds.
Bill just climbed into Miss Thriftway, as you can see, and his comment to us up here was, "Oh, my pants just ripped." So we have serious trouble at Miss Thriftway already there.
Well, now, how is your boat?
So Bill apparently is going to go out on the course, though, even with ripped pants. That's the call. Let's go. And if you've never listened to a hydroplane roar, just listen to this. That whine of the batteries.
Yes, indeed, Bill. Thank you very kindly. Our good friend Don Wilson.
There it is. As the crew cheers, Jack Ramsey, crew chief for Miss Thriftway. Do you want to make any comments on the condition of your boat and the engine and no vibration or no problems with that? No problems at all.
Thriftway is 4th over from the buoy lane. Thriftway is coming down with Hawaii Kai. Short circuit is on the inside. Here is the go, and there's the gun, and here's the start. Miss Thriftway goes out real hard and cuts over now, trying to get to that south corner ahead of Hawaii Kai. It's a 2-boat battle as we have such Quest 3 milling around up in the north turn, still trying to get in there. Who will be through that corner first? A lot of spray. And through that corner real hard. It's the Hawaii Kai. And short circuit is well back, and Miss Thriftway is on the outside. Hawaii Kai out in front. And here she comes down to the line. The leader, Hawaii Kai, followed by Miss Thriftway in second place. Miss Thriftway is 2 seconds behind and goes out after Jack Vegas real hard. In third place, Such Quest 3 is just now getting started and is well behind the field. 1 lap behind, Miss US 1, then Such Quest, or rather Short Circuit, and coming out of the turn is Gale 5. Now, as we go into the south corner, here's a real tough battle for you between two talented kids. Hawaii Kai running on the inside corner, and it's Miss Thriftway running on the outside corner, trying to get to him. Coming at him real hard now, as we are rounding the south corner for the second time. Both boats moving real nicely. It's Miss Thriftway now starting to make her bid, coming around on that outside corner. Hawaii Kai is down in the water. That's all for her. And it is Miss Thriftway going out in front at the 1/4 mark of the backstretch. As once again, Hawaii Kai gets up and goes. She's having trouble through those corners once again with her fuel. Here comes Miss Thriftway out in the lead now with Hawaii Kai hot after her. We are in the second lap. Miss Thriftway leading. And Miss Thriftway is coming out of the north corner now on her 4th time around the course. Miss Thriftway at 108 miles an hour for her 3rd lap. Miss Thriftway 1,000 feet away from the finish, 500 feet away from the finish at lap number 4. And the second place boat is Short Circuit. And Short Circuit, the second place boat, is just now coming a quarter of the way up the backstretch. Miss Thriftway riding real hard out of the south corner. Riding in first place. Short Circuit in second place is 35 seconds behind. Here is a renewal of the duel between Chuck Thompson and Bill Muncey. Here comes the Miss Thriftway.
All right, and Bill Muncey comes into the dock, and he's given all the spectators along the shore, excuse me, a little show as he splashed and flashed and turned that big fin toward them and gave them a little spray. He's a very happy boy. He came into the dock pretty hard, but no damage to the front. And the throw to Bill to pull him alongside just failed, but he's standing up in the boat, and he looks like he's a pretty pleased young fella, as well he might be, because he is certainly behaving as a champion, and so is his boat. Here he comes, Bill Muncey.
How do you feel, boy? Like $1 million. Like $1 million bucks. How's you running? Everything's running real fine.
Bill, you're running just about as hard and as well as you did at the Gold Cup, only this time your top of your deck is staying on.
Yeah.
Has the boat ever
boat isn't
performed?
falling apart. It's just pleasant.
Has it ever performed better for you, Bill?
No, this Rolls engine's a great engine, and we haven't had a minute's trouble with it. Everything is perfect.
Such cuts give you a bad time out there with its wake, Bill?
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
How do you feel about a Rolls engine, Bill?
I'm nuts about it. It's a great mill.
So, as you heard twice from Bill Muncey, he thinks that Rolls engine is a great mill. That's quite a subject of conversation down here in the pits.
Again, this field consisting of Thriftway, the defending champion, Shanty, Gale 5, Breathless, Maverick, Short Circuit, and Hawaii Kai. 6 of those 7 boats have completed a total of 60 miles. They are in contention for the Gold Cut. And we are certainly definitely coming around now to a point where we have everybody shaping up. 2 of the boats are cutting across the infield, coming down here real tight on the inside corner. The defending champion, Miss Thriftway, is in the middle. Hawaii Kai is right next. And we have the Maverick on the inside corner. And they are pretty well braced away as Maverick is on the inside and going very nicely. They're over the line. Here comes Miss Thriftway on the outside corner. She was flipped across the field, taking no chances at all. We will have to wait and see if there was anybody jumping the gun on that start. We'll wait for the official word. We're now moving into the south corner on the first of 10 times around the course. The Shanty is turning back up across the infield, coming back up across the middle. We are at the end of the 7th lap. For most of these boats, Shanty is 56 seconds behind the leader, and Gale 5 in 3rd place is 30 seconds behind. Thriftway is 43 seconds behind. Hawaii Kai, after leading for a total of 8.5 laps, has gone dead in the north corner. And the Maverick is having trouble. She's swinging fairly wide, but I don't think that she'll come down. Now there she is. She's picking up real hard. Here she is coming down, ready to get the checkered lap. And the Miss Thriftway is running in 2nd place. Maverick over the line. Winner of heat number 3, Bill Stead.
And we hear some of those Texas guns. The Bill Wagner just drove down here, whooping and hollering it up. Here comes your second place boat, the defending champion, taking second place in this third heat.
Driver Bill Muncey and the defending Gold Cup champion, Miss Thriftway, played a nice, cautious, tight, safe race. Saved his boat, came in a safe second behind Maverick. Set a new course record for 90 miles on a 3-mile course here at Lake Washington, averaging out at 101.97 miles an hour.
Just watch this. Mr. Muncey, you're proud of your son? That's right. Yeah. 15 points and a Gold Cup champion again. Wonderful. Bill, listen. Billy, New York, Los Angeles, all over the entire nation. You got a word for him, fella? Right there. Hello, it's fun to win, and to all my friends in Detroit and my brother very especially. Good for you, Bill. And Mrs. Muncey, you happy? Good. All righty. Well, if you don't think that isn't a happy moment, take a look. There's a wonderful crew as Bill Muncey jumps down. Oh, there they go. Jack Ramsey. The whole crew is in, and along with the entire crew, Jack Ramsey, Bill Muncey, and they're all flying in. I'm sure you can understand that this is one of the most thrilling moments for an unlimited hydroplane crew in the world. This is truly a tremendous sport, one that requires not only a great deal of courage, but skill and perseverance and a tremendous amount of patience. So perhaps it might appear like just a boat race, but this is the culmination of many long nights and coffee instead of dinner, and just saying hello occasionally to the kids. Bill Muncey's father has come out from Detroit to see this race along with his mother, so this is a very happy occasion for them as well. Last year in the Gold Cup in Detroit, as you may perhaps know, the decision was contested. There is a happy group of people. The Rolls engine and Thriftway certainly held on. Bill drove what was a very smart race, actually, holding back, not pushing all the RPM to it that he could have done so, but just riding a steady race in order to finish and to get his total points. As we understand unofficially that the total points are 1,500. But at any rate, there's no question this time, I'm sure, that Miss Thriftway is the winner. We hope that you've enjoyed this lovely moment and this wonderful moment for the crew.
When he won, he was really, really happy. That's what he lived for, was to win. He didn't, that was it, was winning. If somebody hired you to drive their boat, you did it to win. You didn't do it to go have fun. We went to Eastern Washington one time. We took the 7-liter and the 225. We ran over there, and he got second place with the 225, I think, because it wouldn't start for the second heat or something. We were coming home, driving by Hanford, and he was growling about, well, why did that battery die? Why did that happen to us? And I said, well, it happened. It was tired and it was hot and we had a lot of starts on it and it died. It just went over the hill. It died. I said, you got second place. He says, you know what second place is in a 2-boat race? It's last. I didn't come here to run last. And it was a nice trophy, huh? Well, it's somewhere over there in the desert to this day because it went right out the window. And that was the, I'm not here to impress anybody. I'm not here to run second. I'm here to try to win. And I know that you've heard him say it a million times. What are you going to do next heat, Bill? He said, well, I'm going to try to get out in front and improve my position. Huh? That was his attitude.
Bill Muncey and Myra Slovak were tremendous friends. And they bantered and fought and teased over everything. When Kit Muncey was pregnant with their third child, Bill really wanted a girl. He had 2 sons, he wanted a daughter. So he wore a pink ribbon when he raced. And Myra, just to spite Bill, just to be the black to Bill's white, Myra wore a blue ribbon, or a blue scarf around his neck when he raced. And of course, when the third child was born, it was Kenton, it was a boy. And Bill responded by asking Myra to be Kenton's godfather. Myra was a celebrity in his own right, And Myra had his picture in Life magazine and in Sports Illustrated, and in the 50s was every bit as famous as Bill Muncey. Myra was a pilot in the Czechoslovakian Air Force, which was a Soviet bloc country back in the Cold War days, and he defected, and he flew a DC-3 over the Iron Curtain and landed and brought a number of his family members with him. But he became quite a Cold War hero because he was the guy that defected.
Following week found our unlimited hydroplane friends churning up the waters of the Ohio River looking for extra points for the national championship. They'll be going for the Governor's Cup at Madison, Indiana. And in the first heat, Miss Thriftway set a new world record for a 15-mile heat. It amounted to 112.312 miles an hour. Her second elimination, Heat 2A, was to be her last that she would ever run in her career. She was leading at the end of the first lap. In slow motion. Watch carefully. Bill goes out of the boat to the left, and the seat goes out with him.
In 1957 in Madison, Indiana, Bill was racing and his boat completely disintegrated. And Myra Slovak went by, turned around on the course and came back and jumped in the water to find his friend Bill Muncey. And Bill he just never got over that. So they were very good friends.
One time when we were talking about the crash in Madison with the first Thriftway boat, and I tell him, how fast do you think you were running there? He said, oh, maybe 160, 165. And I said, what happened? He said, it just came apart around me. It took a couple hops and it came apart around me. And I said, you remember that? No, not really. He said, I just remember the hurt afterwards. I don't remember the boat coming apart.
If you watch the film, you see the Thriftway go by and it explodes, and then you see the second place go by, which was the Wahoo, and it turns and comes back, and Myra runs across the deck and dives in the water and holds Bill. And that is not the only time that Myra did that. Myra was a tremendous competitor, but he loved the guys he raced with. And then Myra, after they recovered Bill and brought him to the ambulance, Myra rode in the ambulance with him, went to the hospital with him, and rode home on the plane with him. Didn't leave Bill's side until he knew that Bill was home and safe.
You know, when you're young, you're invincible. So that's part of the gig. That's what happens. If you're going to race, you're going to crash sometimes. So he got better from that, but he didn't get right from that. He had back problems from the time on.